Today in this video we are going to talk about waveguides. So let us begin. What is a waveguide? A waveguide is a structure which guides energy waves such as electromagnetic waves or sound waves with no loss of energy by restricting wave motion in one dimension or two. As you can see in the GIF above, the wave is traveling in Z direction and is restricted in X and Y direction. The material used for this restriction are perfect electric conductors or PECs. So let us talk about perfect electric conductors. A perfect electric conductor is an ideal material which has no electric and magnetic field inside it. Mathematically, its relative permittivity approaches negative infinity, hence no electric resistance. But superconductors also show zero electric resistance. So what is the difference between these two? The main difference between a PEC and a superconductor is that in addition to zero electrical resistance, superconductors also exhibit quantum effects. Now when the wave is confined in one direction, we get one-dimensional parallel plate waveguide. Also, the standing waves are formed in the direction in which the wave is restricted. In the figure, the direction of propagation is assumed to be z-axis and the confined direction is assumed to be y-axis. Now let us see some mathematics of parallel plate waveguide. Let us assume a general electric field as given. Without the loss of generality, let us take the direction of propagation as z direction, so kx equal to 0. Now, using Maxwell's equations, we get these two boundary conditions. So, substituting these boundary conditions and kx equal to 0, we get the respective ex and ey as given. Assuming the width of the waveguide to be a, ex should be 0 at y equal to a. So, this gives sin kya equal to 0. Hence, kya equal to n pi and ky equal to n pi by a. Now, we know that k square equal to kx square plus ky square plus kz square. Note that kx square is 0 in this condition, hence k square is equals to ky square plus kz square equal to omega square by c square. The dispersion relation for wave travelling in parallel plate waveguide is given as kz equal to under root omega square upon c square minus n pi by square by a square. Now varying the value of n leads to different modes of parallel plate waveguide. Kz is also known as propagation constant and is denoted by beta. Now, when the wave is restricted in two dimensions, we get two-dimensional rectangular waveguide. Here, standing waves are formed in both the directions in which the wave is restricted. In the figure, we have assumed the direction of propagation to be z direction and the wave is restricted in both y direction and x direction. Also, there are different transverse electric and transverse magnetic modes for rectangular waveguide, as we will see later. Let us look into the mathematics of rectangular waveguide, which goes similar to that of the parallel plate waveguide. So we have assumed a general electric field. Now applying boundary conditions for both x and y direction, we get these two equations. Substituting these two equations in the above general equation, we get these respective ex, ey and ez as given. For propagation constant, kz to be real, omega should be greater than a certain frequency called cutoff frequency. Assuming that the width of waveguide is a and the length is b, we know that ex is 0 at y equal to b, so we get sin ky b equal to 0 and ey is 0 at x equal to a, so we get sin kx a equal to 0. Using these relations, we get ky equal to p pi by b and kx equal to q pi by a, where p and q are integers. Also, k square equal to kx square plus ky square plus kz square equal to omega square. Putting the above relations, we get the dispersion relation for wave travelling in rectangular waveguide as kz equal to beta, which is the propagation constant, equal to under root omega square by c square minus p pi square by b square minus q pi square by a square. Now varying the value of p and q leads to different transverse electric and transverse magnetic modes of rectangular waveguide. But what are these T and Tm modes we are referring to? Let us talk about these modes in detail. Now, using the Faraday and Ampere's law, we get these Hx, Hy, Ex and Ey equations as follows, where h square used is equal to k square plus gamma square and gamma is equals to j beta, where beta is the propagation constant. So let us talk about transverse electric mode first. The condition for transverse electric mode is that electric field in the direction of propagation of wave should be 0 and at least one of the other electric field must be non-zero, including magnetic field in the direction of propagation. So using the equations we discussed just before this, either sin kyb equal to 0 or sin kxa equal to 0, but not both. So the least mode of transverse electric field is TE10 in the case when B is greater than A. Note that for A greater than B, the least mode for transverse electric field is TE01. Now, as we discussed earlier, beta should be real. So, mathematically we can define a cutoff frequency above which this condition satisfies. Talking about least transverse electric mode TE10, omega must be greater than C pi by B for beta to be real, where B is length of waveguide. Similarly, for TE01, omega must be greater than C pi by A, where A is the width of the waveguide, and for TE20 mode, omega must be greater than equal to 2 C pi by B. So the bandwidth for first transverse electric mode is defined as C pi by B if A is less than B by 2, or C pi 1 upon A minus 1 upon B if B is greater than A is greater than B by 2. In general, we use B equal to 2A for maximum bandwidth. Now let us talk about transverse magnetic mode. For transverse magnetic mode, the magnetic field component in the direction of propagation should be 0, and the electric field component in the direction of propagation should be non-zero. Note that there is no such bound on the other components of magnetic field. Now from the equations of electric and magnetic fields we discussed earlier, it is clear that if either P or Q is 0 for TM mode, Ez also becomes 0. But we don't want Ez to be 0. So the least mode for transverse magnetic is TM11, where P equal to 1 and Q equal to 1. Talking about the propagation constant to be real, the cutoff frequency comes out to be omega greater than equal to C under root pi square by B square plus pi square by A square. So considering both the modes, transverse magnetic mode and the transverse electric mode, the overall cutoff frequency for rectangular waveguide is for transverse electric mode at P equal to 1 and Q equal to 0. Here are some other points about TE and TM modes. First, cutoff frequency. Now we have discussed that for beta to be real, there is a minimum frequency requirement that is called cutoff frequency. So what happened below this frequency? Below this frequency, the wave will be decaying for those modes and propagating for other modes. Also, for if both Ez and Hz are 0, where Z is the direction of propagation of wave, all other electric and magnetic fields will be 0. So TEM mode don't exist for rectangular waveguide in this case. Now we define the impedance for TM mode and TE mode as neta and is given by these equations. Now TE10 is called the dominant mode for rectangular waveguide as it gives the maximum bandwidth for a single mode. Hence the rectangular waveguide can be operated in this region easily. Now when the wave is confined in all the three directions, we get something called resonant cavity. Here standing waves are formed in all the three directions. There are different TE and TM modes for resonant cavity and they all occur at very discrete frequencies. Resonant cavity is used to store electromagnetic energy at very high frequencies. Also, resonant cavity is used to identify frequencies. Let us look into the mathematics of resonant cavity. We have assumed a general electric field and applying boundary conditions in all the three directions we get these two equations. Using the boundary conditions we get Ex, Ey, Ez, also Hx, Hy and Hz as follows. Assuming that the width of waveguide is A, length is B and height is D. Similar to the rectangular waveguide and parallel plate waveguide, we can get Kx, Ky, Kz in terms of integers P, Q and R. Now we know that k square equal to kx square plus ky square plus kz square equal to omega square by c square. We get the dispersal relation for the waveguide in resonance cavity as kz equal to under root of p pi square by b square plus q pi square by a square plus r pi square by d square. So as we can see, in resonant cavity there are only discrete frequencies for which we will have standing waves, as p, q and r are integers. Varying the value of P, Q and R leads to different transverse electric and transverse magnetic modes of resonant cavity. Assuming A less than B less than D, we get the lowest transverse electric mode at P equal to 1, Q equal to 0 and R equal to 1. Also, we get the lowest transverse magnetic mode at P equal to 1, Q equal to 1 and R equal to 0. Now, to analyze power losses in the cavity, we define a cavity quality factor Q, which is defined as a measure of the sharpness of response of the cavity to external excitation. and is defined as Q equal to 2 pi into time average energy stored in the cavity upon energy loss per cycle. Here are some references which we used to make this video. Thank you everyone. Hope you found this video useful.